Wealth and greed could be considered keys for success in getting something you desire greatly. However, ultimately, they are two very dangerous characteristics that can destroy a person's mind and perceived image. You see, wealth is very important in life. You can buy more things, go on vacations, impress others. You can ultimately live a better life. But is it really that important? Is it possible to be truly happy without money and power? Today, that is what we will be looking into. Determination and being ambitious are two keys to live a successful life. However, these can easily turn into the trait of greed. Many people will do anything in their power to achieve success. We can see this in Macbeth on his quest to rule Scotland, as well as in The Great Gatsby with Jay's mission to win over the love of his life. However, in the end, it seems that the greed that drove their dreams ultimately led to the downfall of both characters.
Hi, my name is Nick Carraway. One of my great friends named Jay Gatsby is in love with a girl named Daisy Buchanan. He would do anything and would stop at nothing to impress her. However, Daisy is more interested in money than she is into love. In fact, Daisy's a fool, a beautiful little fool, and this is what leads to Gatsby's downfall. You see, Jay was a man who built his reality from his imagination. In order to impress Daisy, he had to use the traits of both wealth and power and greed. However, Daisy wanted to stay with Tom because he had a more reliable source of money. You see, although Jay had an abundance of money, it just came from an illegal source, as Tom had stated in the Plaza Hotel when he called Jay out. And because of this, Daisy chose to stay with Tom, which basically she chose money over love. And that's an example of greed and wealth in this movie. Sorry. Later, babe. So, this is only one example of how wealth and greed affects the story of The Great Gatsby. There are also many other examples, such as how Jordan Baker cheats in her golf tournaments just to win money, or how Myrtle Wilson would sacrifice her own life just to be married to Tom, which ultimately leads to her wealth. Now, in the end, all of these events somehow relate to Gatsby's downfall and his death. Now we have some questions to our classmates to discuss wealth and greed in the novel The Great Gatsby.
Do you believe greed to be a positive or a negative trait in the following of your dreams?
I think greed is a negative trait in the following of your dreams because greed causes a bunch of other things, a bunch of other false perceptions and realities that not allow you to see through things. You tend to take a lot rather than give, and you can become a selfish person, and thus you could be violating your own dreams for yourself.
If you were in the same position Daisy was in when she hit Myrtle, how would you have handled the situation?
The way I would have handled the situation is I would have told the truth and I wouldn't have lied about it. I wouldn't have framed someone else and let them take the blame for it. And I would have done the right thing and told someone and, like I said, told the truth.
The play Macbeth by William Shakespeare displays how the greed for wealth and power can ultimately lead to the destruction of oneself as well as others. The play's main character, Macbeth, is not pleased with being a high-ranking thane, thus resulting in his decision to murder Duncan to become king and unknowingly dooming himself. Many occurrences throughout the play prove Macbeth's crave for power. At the beginning of the play, Macbeth appeared to be very gentle and a kind man who was always loyal to the king. The only time he ever inflicted harm on another was during battle. He was awarded Thane of Cawdor for so bravely killing a traitor to the Scotland who was a very high-ranking individual. Due to this, Macbeth gained new ambition. He was unsure of what to do after the three witches told him he would be king one day, so he wrote his wife a letter. By him doing so, it showed his loyalty because he was sharing new information with his wife. As of now, he did not feel a need for power. Afterwards, his wife was the one who drove him to become so power-hungry. She filled his head with ideas that changed him. This is what led to the idea of assassinating the king. After achieving this without being caught and becoming king, he was given an even more powerful drive for success. This caused Macbeth to feel invincible. He did all in his power to protect what he had become. Shakespeare shows how one person having so much power in their hands can turn them into a vulnerable individual. From Macbeth trying to cover up the dirty footsteps he left behind on his journey to great power, he ruined 2 families and killed innocent people along the way. Macbeth ends as a fearful man who targets the hopeless, leading him to his own doom.
own words, can you describe how greed played a role in Macbeth's downfall?
So greed played a role in Macbeth's downfall by his lust for his greed, essentially. He wanted to be the king of Scotland, and he did succeed by doing that, but he trumped everybody he wanted to step on. Like, he killed people for his own benefit and his own greater good, which eventually led to his kind of insanity, and which is called the sickness of his mind. And the greed that he wanted was a greed of the mind, like I said. He manipulated himself, he manipulated other people, his wife manipulated other people, and he constantly drove himself down instead of picking himself up and using the proper way to become King of Scotland, instead of what he actually did would kill people. And yeah.
Do you think Lady Macbeth killed herself, and if so, what do you think her motives were?
I think Lady Macbeth did kill herself because it clearly is stated in the play, and also because she realized the damage that her greed had done, and also what it had not only turned her into, it turned her husband into, and I don't think she could live with that.
The play Macbeth and the novel The Great Gatsby both show similar characteristics that place a great deal of importance on wealth. They display the dangers of greed as well, and how it can lead to an accidental, self-inflicted downfall. Both Gatsby and Macbeth were blind to reality and believed that they could get what they wanted by attempting to determine the course of their lives. Gatsby could not understand the fact that he is not from Daisy's world and does not belong there. No matter how much money he could come up with, he would not be able to revive the relationship him and Daisy had 5 years ago. It was not his wish for wealth that led him to his downfall, but having the wealth that he acquired. His value of his new money leading him to death is an excellent example of how dangerous one's greed can be. Macbeth, on the other hand, was blind to the actual intentions of the three witches, even after being warned by Banquo. He did not take into consideration that once he gained the power of being king, he would not be able to enjoy it due to the act of murder he committed. His self-desire for power backfired, leading him to his own. Macbeth, on the other hand, was blind to the actual intentions of the three witches, even after being warned by Banquo. He did not take into consideration that once he gained the power of being king, he would not be able to enjoy it due to the act of murder he committed. His self-desire for power backfired, leading him to his own downfall. His greed came from wanting a higher status and the opportunity to control his own troops. Both Gatsby and Macbeth allowed their desire for wealth and power to get the best of them and turn them into completely different men than they previously were, leading themselves to a self-destruction. Wealth and greed showcase great importance throughout both The Great Gatsby and Macbeth. Various characters in both works allowed their greed to get the best of them and ultimately control their lives as well as some's destiny. They both resulted in being more of a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and how too much wealth or power can lead to even more greed. Placing a great deal on such a thing can result in the destruction of oneself as well as others, as displayed in both Shakespeare's play and Fitzgerald's novel.
Yeah. Straight off the plane, dropping the flame. First.